If you've seen any of my previous LEGO Legend of Zelda videos, then you'd know that I like making different abilities and items from the games out of LEGO. And today, I'm going to be making a whole bunch more, not just from a single game, but several items across games like Twilight Princess, Skyward Sword, and A Link Between Worlds, just to name a few. So let's get building. I suppose it's fitting to talk about items from the first game chronologically in the series with Skyward Sword. There's a lot of fun and cool items in Skyward Sword, but there are a few that stick out to me that haven't been in many other Zelda games since. The first of which is the bug net. It shows up in a couple other Zelda games as well, but my personal favorite is the one from Skyward Sword. It sends you on a lot of side quests and collectible missions, which is one of my favorite parts of Zelda games. And luckily for our first item to make here, it's pretty simple since LEGO already makes a bug net piece. It usually comes in a medium nougat color, but it did come in white once in the Series 15 Animal Control minifigure. And since the white coloring is a little bit more accurate to the one in the Zelda games, that's the one we're going to use here. And of course there are plenty of different bugs and butterflies in LEGO form that we can add with our bug net for some extra detail. Another big part of Skyward Sword are any of the underground digging sections of the game, which are accessed by using the digging mitts or the upgraded version, the Mogma mitts. And luckily, once again, LEGO has a nice piece for this with these bladed gauntlets. They're usually used for characters like Shredder in the Ninja Turtles sets, but I think they fit pretty well here for the digging mitts. One of my other favorite items from Skyward Sword is the whip. It's used throughout the game for a lot of traversal and puzzles, and it's just an overall really fun item to use. So by using a red LEGO whip piece in conjunction with some other pieces as well, I was able to make my own. By adding some gold pieces to a blue lightsaber piece as well as some blue studs on the end of the red whip, I think it looks just like the one in the game. And finally, this next item is probably my favorite from all of Skyward Sword. It's such a fun and unique item, and they've never done it in any other Zelda game. That being the beetle. So you're telling me that I get a remote-controlled drone in a Zelda game? Sign me up, dude! So now let's make our own out of LEGO pieces. To make a LEGO beetle, we're only going to need 8 simple pieces. A 1x1 stud with a hole through it, 2 1x2 rounded plates, 2 1x2 half-circle tiles, a 1x1 orange clip, this orange Moon Knight blade, and a brown minifigure neck bracket. We're going to start by putting the 1x2 plates together, and then connect the 2 half-circle tiles for wings. And then we can add the 2 orange pieces to the front. And while this already looks pretty good, we're going to use those last 2 pieces to actually connect it to Link's wrist, just like in the game. You're going to want to place that 1x1 hollow stud over the Link minifigure's arm and then connect the neck bracket and the hand through those 2 pieces. And then we can connect the beetle to the wrist gauntlet we just made so it looks just like the one in the game. Next, let's talk about some items from one of my personal favorite Zelda games of all time, A Link Between Worlds. When this game originally came out on the 3DS, I played this game forwards and backwards. I 100%ed everything, got every collectible, I beat this game to a pulp, and I loved it. And it had a really fresh and unique take on items where you could actually rent them instead of buying them. So here's a few of my favorites from that game. First up is the hammer. By using an orange 2x2 brick with stud connections on the side, you can make up the mallet of the hammer. And then I used a simple gray lightsaber piece as well as a lightsaber hilt for the rest of the hammer. I really like the art style of Link Between Worlds as it has very simple cartoony features which translate really well into LEGO. Next, let's talk about the elemental rods. For both the fire and ice rod, I used a simple 3-stud long lightsaber bar, then a 1x1 hollow white stud piece, and then topped it off with a red Technic ball for the fire rod and a blue gem for the ice rod. Both very simple builds just like the hammer, but they match the game's aesthetic really well. Next we have the tornado rod and the sand rod. I once again utilized some lightsaber bar pieces for the handles on the rods. I added a gold cone piece, a 1x1 hollow stud, a 1x2 rounded plate, and then these 2 leaf pieces on top for the tornado rod. Then on the sand rod, I used 2 1x1 hollow studs in gold and yellow on both sides of the bar, and then a yellow sonic ring piece and a crystal jewel in the center. Once again, both matching the art style of the game really well. And finally, we have a nice freebie here with this blue cane piece. I think it matches the cane of Birna really well, which isn't from A Link Between Worlds, but is from the game that precedes it, A Link to the Past. The piece was just too perfect to pass up the opportunity to use this one. Now let's talk about Majora's Mask. As much as I wanted to try and make every single mask from this game, that was going to be almost impossible, especially to try and do it in minifigure scale like I wanted to. So instead of stressing over making every single one of those masks, I decided to focus on just Majora's Mask itself. I did make a really detailed non-minifigure scale Majora's Mask in a previous video, but I did want to make one that was minifigure scale so that I could actually put it on my Link minifigure's face. Very fittingly, we're going to start with this 3x3 modified heart plate. And then we can add these 1x2 teeth pieces to the back of the heart. Next, put on these 1x1 bricks with holes in them as well as some yellow teeth pieces for the horns. Then for the eyes, we can add these 1x1 hollow studs to the front, and then some translucent green tiles over top of them. By using hollow 1x1 studs instead of just regular ones, it has these holes in them that give the effect of pupils in the eyes. Now we just gotta attach it to our young Link's face. In order to attach our Majora's Mask to a minifigure, we're going to use this minifigure neck bracket and place it on the front of the minifigure, because then we can connect it to the back of the mask and make it look like he's wearing it. And with how good this turned out, I may need to make a custom Skull Kid minifigure to attach this mask to in the future. And aside from Majora's Mask, we can also give our Young Link minifigure this bunny hood. In one of my previous LEGO Zelda videos, I gave him this exact same piece, but it was in a white color. And this nougat color is much closer to the actual tan that the hood is in the game. And I'm all about accuracy on this channel, so this one's much better. Now on to what is perhaps my favorite 3D Zelda game of all time. I had played some of the previous Zelda games before Twilight Princess when I was a kid, but this was the one that really got me invested in the series. The characters and story remain some of my favorite in all of the Zelda games. And not only that, but Twilight Princess had some pretty sick items to go along with it. One of the items that is still completely unique to Twilight Princess and has never shown up in any other Zelda game since is the Dominion Rod. I was able to make my own version of the Dominion Rod with some pretty cool pieces if I do say so myself. To make the handle of the rod, I used this blue lightsaber hilt and this gray lightsaber bar. Then by using 3 silver axe pieces, I was able to make the 3 prongs on the rod. Then on top, I used this 1x1 hollow clear stud and this bright yellow ball piece. That way I made it look like the magic orb that floats in between the 3 prongs on the rod. It took me a long time to figure out how I wanted to make the prongs on the rod, but I think the silver axe pieces were the perfect choice here. While not as cool as the Dominion Rod, I made the lantern, which is one of the most important and first items you get in the game. By using the standard LEGO lantern piece, as well as a 1x1 translucent orange cone, and then a couple studs on the bottom, I think it replicates the Twilight Princess lantern pretty well. In a previous LEGO Zelda video, I showed how to make your LEGO hookshot look like it's actually being fired. And today we're going to implement this technique again, but on a much bigger scale. Say hello to the claw shot. Much like the hookshot, I used a clear translucent bar here to make the chain elongate up to where the claw comes out. And this time I actually wrapped the chain around the bar to make it look like it's unwinding as it's shooting. And then for the actual claw itself, I used a Ninjago arrow blade piece along with 3 1x1 clips and 1x1 teeth pieces for the claw. And as you can see, it's definitely the longest Zelda weapon I've ever made, but definitely accurate to the game. Next we're going to talk about another weapon with a long chain, the balling chain. And I ain't talking about my ex-wife, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
By using a 1x1 brick with studs on all sides, I was able to connect these dish pieces here with these spikes. Then you can connect a chain piece to that 1x1 brick in the center and cap it off with another dish piece on top. And that gives you a nice and hefty ball and chain. Perfect for our Link minifigure to swing around. And now on to one of my favorite parts of every Zelda game, the fishing minigames. Of course, there is an actual LEGO fishing rod piece, but I'm going to give it a little bit extra detail. I'm going to use this long studded string piece to actually connect a fishing line to the rod. I tied the end of that string piece to the top of the fishing rod and of course connected a fish to the end. There are legit fishing rod pieces in LEGO form that have strings attached, but I wanted to make my own so that I could make the rod nice and long. I didn't mean it like that. Welcome to the Tony Hawk Pro Skating item of Zelda, otherwise known as the spinner. For the start of the spinner, I used this large Technic gear and put a bunch of Technic pins inside the stud holes that are on the piece. Then I added these brown 4x4 round plates to each side. Then we can add this round 2x2 dome piece to the bottom, and this 2x2 jumper and a star to the top for some detail. And who would have thought it actually spins too? Django is very interested in the spinning top. Hey! But I still haven't quite figured out how to make it spin with a minifigure on top. Not quite as cool. Next I was able to replicate Link's wolf form as well as Midna riding on top of him, complete with the chain around his ankles. By using the wolf piece from the Series 27 Wolfpack Beastmaster minifigure, I was able to replicate Link's wolf form. Then for Midna, I used a LEGO Dreams body, a LEGO Chima head, and this LEGO Star Wars headdress piece. The face for her isn't perfect, but we're going to try and spiff it up a little bit. By getting rid of some of the red scars and the black nose that was on this minifigure's head, I feel like it's a little bit closer to Midna's look now. And while technically this next item isn't from Twilight Princess, I couldn't resist making an item from one of my favorite spin-off games of all time. I decided to make Link's crossbow from Link's Crossbow Training. By using a regular bow and arrow piece, along with a couple droid arms and this T-shaped bar piece, I was able to make Link's crossbow from the game. And by just looking at this LEGO build of the crossbow from the game, it brings back fond memories of the sound of the full auto crossbow.
Ooh, that sound be making me want to slap my grandma, you know what I'm saying?
Next we're going to talk about a couple items from Breath of the Wild. And I already made a full-length video covering almost every item in that game, but there are a couple that I wanted to revisit. For starters, we got the Master Cycle Zero. This was one that I wanted to do in my original video, but I wasn't quite sure on how to tackle it. But lucky for me, I found a build on Rebrickable that looks really good. I'll put a link to the build and the designer's profile page in the description so you can check it out yourself. It's pretty much perfectly in scale with a LEGO minifigure, so having my Breath of the Wild Link riding it was a must. There's plenty of pearl gold, translucent blue, and translucent orange pieces used throughout this build, which make for a perfect replica of the Master Cycle Zero from the game. So kudos to the designer for pulling this off, and all credit goes to them. Next, I wanted to revisit some bow and arrows from Breath of the Wild. I recently got the LEGO Horizon Adventures set, which contains this very detailed bow piece. It reminds me a lot of the different bow and arrows from Breath of the Wild, such as the Swallow Bow, the Falcon Bow, or the Great Eagle Bow. So once I got this piece, it made me want to go back and make some more detailed LEGO bows. By using these brown tooth or vine pieces with this hilt and some LEGO string attached to it, I was able to make a much more detailed version of a bow and arrow. It's always bothered me that most LEGO bows look like an arrow is always firing out of it, so this solves that issue pretty well. It's a great way to make a LEGO bow without having any arrows knocked on it. And of course you could use other hilts in tandem with these tooth pieces as well. Finally, let's talk about some items we can give our Toon Link minifigure. In the original video where I made this Toon Link custom minifigure, I gave him his Hero's Shield and his Wind Waker wand. I made these using a 2x2 rounded tile and this white Harry Potter wand. I also just got done playing the Minish Cap for the first time, so we can give him the same gauntlets from earlier for the Mole Mitts. There's also this LEGO Hourglass piece that we can give to our Toon Link for the Phantom Hourglass. And we can add a 1x1 blue stud and 1x1 blue tile just to make it a little bit more accurate to the one in the game. If you enjoyed any of these LEGO Zelda builds that I made today, consider giving this video a like as it really helps out my channel. Don't forget to subscribe to stay tuned for my future projects as well. As always, thanks for watching and I'll see y'all next time.